What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fun with Dumb. I am fresh from Coachella, just came in, drove in after 2 days, was going to stay for the third day, but I would have missed this podcast for the world with my favorite people in the world and a very special guest.
Special.
I had to miss it for this person right here because he's all the craze on the streets of Hollywood right now. All the craze. He's actually a friend and the creator of the Netflix show Beef, Lee Sung Jin, a.k.a. Sonny.
Let's go.
Sonny.
Hello.
How you doing, bro?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah. Of course.
And here's a little fact that people may not know. Sonny is a listener of the podcast.
Whoa.
Avid.
Listener
Really?
Yeah.
of the podcast.
Oh my goodness.
And then when I found that out, that was amazing. This was pre-Beef.
Yeah.
He reached out and he was like working on this stuff. You should come to my birthday party.
Yeah.
We hung out at your birthday, and that's when we met. And you were telling me early on about this show.
Mm-hmm.
And there was little things that you were mentioning. I was like, whoa, this is like something that's going to be new. He talked about a lot of like things that we grew up in.
Yeah.
The Korean church.
Yeah.
Which is one that Rick is very familiar with.
I love that part. I love that part.
Just a lot of different things. What I want to know a little bit about your background, though.
Mm-hmm.
You're from the Midwest.
I moved every like 3 to 4 years of my life. I was born in Korea, then did a lot of moving in the States, and then went back to Korea for like some of elementary school, and then moved around some more.
So wait. What age did you come to America?
First 9 months old,
9 months, and
and then
then
went back for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade.
So wait, you came back here and then went back?
Yeah,
Was
that's the rare move.
That's rare. Wait, hold on. Wait, they came back for a few years and it's like, nah, it's not popping. Let's get back to Korea.
yeah.
Is that what happened? So
No, well, my dad, he's a professor, and he would get tenured. You know,
Okay.
and usually you stay somewhere forever when you get tenured.
Right.
Yeah.
But my parents, every couple of years, were like trying to clean slate it. You know, just like maybe happiness will find us if we move.
Yeah.
You know, and then he got a job at Samsung. He actually designed Samsung's Korea's first supercomputer.
oh wow,
And so we moved back to Korea, and then I went to a public school where, and this is before they changed the education system, so I was just getting beat every day at school, just like no other.
like the Korean dramas.
Yeah. And so after 3 years of that, my parents were like, "Ooh, maybe we should go back."
They didn't like it.
No.
Oh, you mean physically beat?
Oh yeah, they had
Like the lineups and all that?
Oh yeah, like I remember every quiz they'd be like, anyone who got under an 85, raise your hand. And this one dude was not smart.
Yeah.
And every quiz he's like, oh my god.
What were the beatings like? Was it like they use a ruler?
No, they had these like, they had like a really thick stick, I remember. And so I was class president, brag. When like the teachers would have conferences in the hallways in the middle of the day, and that you'd be in charge.
Yeah.
And if they could hear like class get unruly, then like you were responsible. So this one day they were going nuts, and I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
And then the teacher came back, and she called me and the vice president up to the front. And you hold on to the eraser thing, you know, and it just goes whack. And then it hit me, and it hit me pretty good. And then on the second time, the thing snapped. And I had like just the craziest bruise for a long time.
Wait, so you're taking the beating on behalf of your whole class?
Yeah, on behalf.
What?
That's a scary position.
You're like Jesus.
Yeah,
of your
yeah.
school.
Yo,
Yeah.
chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Chill out.
Excuse me. But
It was Christ-like.
It was
Christ-like.
Christ-like.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
but I gotta say, your parents seem like good people, because I feel like they would have hyped on the beatings for the school for me. They're like, that's how you teach, you know. But yours was like, nah, let's get out of here. Let's move to America because I don't like the system and how they're doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But I mean, it did work. I got really smart.
We were talking about this the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
day. We were talking about like how our parents kind of treat us like a television. You know, if there's static, they just like hit it until it gets fixed instead of reading the instructions. So I was raised like a Panasonic television, kind of.
Exactly.
But like we felt like it worked because sometimes the TV works when you hit it. You know? The static goes away.
Have your parents done the thing where they're sort of like rewriting history a little bit?
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, so in episode 4, I think, of Beef, Danny's character references the Kmart meme that he used to get hit with. And I just saw my parents, and they were like, "Oh, we noticed the Kmart meme mention." I was like, "Oh yeah, sorry about that." And and they were like, "But we never hit you with that." I was
Wow.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. You forget.
I was like, that. What? It was just like there for a display.
Right.
That's insane.
Maybe they black out when they hit you.
No, I think they do because when I talk about it with my mom, she has no recollection at all.
Really?
She's like, "Oh, we don't need to talk about those things. Like, I don't know. I don't remember."
Yeah.
And so I think for them, it's like traumatic as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that.
Yeah.
That's why it says it hurts them more than it hurts us.
Yeah, that is what they said.
It's traumatic for them too.
Yeah.
You got to think about
Who
that.
said
know
that? Your parents said that?
I know it's weird. Yeah.
Do you relate in the show? Do you relate to one of the characters more than any other one?
I think I relate to all of them. I've been Danny a lot, but
Yeah.
I'm probably presently like Amy more. You know, it's like whether you're like, because I was poor forever, and back then was had an endless void inside.
Right.
And then like even now as like the show's coming out, I remember like this past week I was in New York, and we were having the A24 screening, and I like turned to Steven and I'm like, yeah, this is not fulfilling either.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think all the characters, I think we all have like, no matter, you play musical chairs with your environment, but unless you like get right inside, it's still, all the stuff is still there.
Have Asians done that whole like BuzzFeed like which character are you from Beef yet?
Yeah.
You know what I
I've
mean?
seen a couple of those.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that would be coming up.
I feel like I've
yeah.
been different people in different parts of my life.
For
You
sure.
know, like you resonate with each character. Like I resonated with Amy when I was engaged, and like living that type of life was like with that kind of like husband who tries to cover up their problems with, I don't know, like these normalized things people say to make things better.
Yeah.
I will say that character did remind me of you because
Yeah.
she was in a.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was in
I
a
was
long-term engagement, and they lived very different lifestyles.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm not like that at all anymore.
So how did that repression manifest in your life?
I think I would cover up a lot of who I thought I was with physical things. And I really relate to how I would take out my anger during that time externally. Like that was a very much me thing. And I think a lot of us relate to that, especially being Asian. I don't think we were taught to go inside, like at all. Unless, for me, it was once I started therapy. And that is a Western version of therapy. Like, I don't know what it's like in Asia or whatever. So I noticed these connections when watching the show. I was like,
Oh, cool.
me as an American, I know psychology and therapy the way it is here.
Yeah.
And because of those things, I think I resented when all these things from like that I was working on inside started resenting things that in the past I was able to repress and not think about, but I would put it on to like my mom. I'd be
Sure.
like, oh, it's because of her. Da, da, da. But that's because like our therapy, the therapy kind of like goes into that. It's like everything comes from what, we learned as a kid. That's like a very Jungian thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's that show really, I'm just like, I want to know what happens to the future of these characters because I want to know, am I going to be like them? And so, is there something to look forward to?
Yeah, sure.
You're like, where does my future hold? Season 2, please tell me. All right, recently I had a crazy toothache, and like an idiot, instead of going to a dentist, I went into my group chat to ask 8 other idiots about my condition. I did this because I've always had a hard time finding the right doctor. It's like going on 100 blind dates. You got to find the right one. Do they take your insurance or whatnot? Luckily, I found a one-stop shop. This app right here is like a dating app to find the right doctor. It's called ZocDoc. It's the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, that take your insurance and are available when you need them to treat almost every condition under the sun. I went on the site, found a dentist within a 3-block radius of my place that had hundreds of positive reviews, and of course, I came out feeling fantastic. Don't wait now. Millions of people have trusted ZocDoc, and tons of doctors are on there right now at your fingertips. Go to ZocDoc.com/dumb, D-U-M-B, and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/dumb, D-U-M-B. ZocDoc.com/DUMB. Find the right doctor.
Or exactly. Or am I just gonna be
That
this
seems
sad
very-
person? Like, how am I gonna?
Something about that seems very Asian too, like on a fortune
Right?
teller
Oh, totally.
kind of sense. You
Yeah.
know, like the fortune teller will tell me.
Yeah.
Season 2.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you actually. You know, bringing up therapy. Do you go to therapy, or do you have you had experience with therapy?
Yeah, I had like kind of like a full breakdown mid-career, like around, I think it was 2013 or 14. Just like I've talked about this before, but the hibachi stuff in the show,
Yeah.
that's like ripped from the headlines.
Wow.
Like I went to Home Depot in Playa Vista. I bought hibachi grills. I bought a carbon monoxide detector, and did the whole Danny thing.
Oh,
I
wow.
like Googled what's the least painful way to kill yourself. And it wasn't a Quora though back then, because back then Quora wasn't really popping off. It was actually this forum that weirdly one of the writers, she's much younger than me. She's in her 20s. And I guess when she was a teen, she also read the exact same forum, and like we like verbatim remembered exactly like the replies and stuff. So it was really uncanny how we had all kind of this group of people in the writers' room. We all sort of had very similar, I guess, experiences and emotional
That's
baggage.
crazy.
And it was to buy the multiple.
She didn't do that, but she remembers reading about it.
Right.
So that was like, I think 2013 or 14, where I just, I have like these scars on my wrist from, cutting myself when I ended up in the hospital and stuff like that. And once I hit that rock bottom, I was like, I gotta go to therapy.
Yeah.
So started therapy then, did a lot of, read a lot of books, a lot of supplemental help, I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't gone to therapy in a couple years, just because like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes you hit a plateau with that stuff where, kind of like Amy in the show, you start to gamify it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, if I say this thing, then I feel good, even though I'm not actually like improving that much.
Yeah.
And so I was using it as a crutch, so I kind of let go of it. And then I can't tell if it's gotten better or worse, but I don't know.
This gamify thing, I feel you. I feel like that would happen a lot with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would like game the system, if you will.
Well, I felt like you were just like looking for approval anywhere if you didn't get it from like for me when I watch Amy, it's like, oh, I didn't get that approval for anywhere, so now I have this person I pay who will be my parent.
Yeah,
in a way,
exactly.
right? And like, how could I? And then I see myself going, oh, am I even being real with her, or do I just want her approval for everything?
Yeah, exactly.
And like, then at that point, what's going on?
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah, that's a lot of money to spend to play a game.
Yeah.
I gotta say, even in the way the character kind of commits suicide, it was very Asian. He's still buying in
Asian.
bulk, you know. So I gotta say that's
Yeah,
a very
Yeah,
Nah, but that's crazy how like these experiences become kind of like testimony material.
Mhm.
You know,
Absolutely.
like you literally countered it, and you took such a dark moment in your life, and it's now part of this art that a lot of people could relate to. That's great. I knew when I saw it, I was like, this is such a specific method that this has to be from like true life.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
That was nuts.
But it's the like the truest depiction of depression I've seen. But I don't know if that's because I'm Asian American and I see Asian Americans on TV being themselves. You know, like I felt like I was like, I understand this and I didn't have to question it in any way.
Yeah.
It was just so true.
Oh, thanks. That's been really the best part of the rollout of the show. I've been getting a lot of DMs and stuff from people. I got one that got me a little teary because this person was like, I like tried to kill myself 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And I watched her show and it just like gave me so much hope because I don't feel as alone. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know, like that's
crazy.
why we do this, you know.
It's just like subtle. I got DMs and text messages from people about beef too. You know, without even having a hand in it.
Oh shit!
You know what I mean? Like I have
They're just reaching out to anybody.
Yeah, no, for real. Like I'll have a Korean homegirl like, oh my god, beef church scene, you know, and then I'll have like Rec hit me up, AMWF, yeah, like you know, different people from different walks of life, you know.
Yeah.
But it is crazy. Yeah, I don't know if you've gotten any of those DMs, but I mean, I like messages, but I think people just kind of saw those moments and was like, I need to talk to somebody about this.
For sure. I mean, a lot of conversations I had after watching it, it's just like it was a frighteningly accurate depiction of like a Korean American. You know, like the little small details, like the ramyeon after the brothers fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like when the house burns down and the mom says like, "Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to work out." Like, you know, like that sentence, I've heard it so many times. Like when I'm trying to prove to my mom, like, look, I did this for you, and then something slips, he's like, I knew it wasn't gonna happen.
Of course,
dude,
of course.
that dug. It was crazy.
You know, there was a long time in my life I felt that, you know, even with this podcast, I go into specifics, right, about like Korean American life, but there's a point where you're just like, is there even enough of a big audience to even care about this shit?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's like when you're making something that big, like, do you come across these moments? You're like, damn, these are so specific. Like, how do you take that and make it bigger, right? Like, how do people take that specific and relate to it on a bigger scale?
I think, you know, a credit to A24 and Netflix, they always were like, get more specific, because they like very executive speak. They're like, oh, there's universality in like the specificity. And so,
Right.
You know, I just don't think we've gotten a chance to do that yet. You know, like you watch something like The Sopranos, that's so specific. Like Uncle Paulie, like that is like every Italian American's like, I know that guy. And we just haven't gotten a chance to really like in a large scale kind of paint that portrait for ourselves yet. And so you know, I didn't really like ever like try to hold back. I was just like trying to mine stories from everybody, be like, all right, like what's even more, like, I mean, even listening to your pod honestly inspired a couple of things. I don't know if you guys caught this, but in episode 2,
Yeah, that sounded
that's
was
the back
crazy.
of the Asian head if I've ever seen one.
First of all, I'm gonna
Alex.
flex real quick.
Go ahead, bro.
The scene, episode 2, like he mentioned, inspired from our podcast.
Yeah.
Ali Wong saying the line
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
That's
That's fire.
George, come here. Look. Now that is the back of an Asian head if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
That was amazing. What an honor. And then having you here, like, just this full circle.
yeah.
I was like, oh, I hope they're not mad I ripped them off.
No. I
No.
thought it was dope. I was like, oh, dude, I hope that was from our shit. You know.
Yeah.
We've become part of the culture. Like,
No, that was dope. That was dope. Yeah, no, I feel like you know, like what you mentioned, Sopranos. But even Sopranos, there was there was already kind of the Italian mob culture
true.
shown a lot.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
think like the popularity of Korean culture kind of helps the Korean American, you know, nuance stuff be seen and understood a little bit more?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just the last couple of years, you know, like, I don't know if we would pop off as hard without Parasite. You know what I
Right.
mean? But then there are certain things where, like, you know, we're doing this press junket, and someone asked me, I forget which outlet, but they're like, you know, did Crazy Rich Asians pave the way for beef? And I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
What?
right.
You know, because like we would exist, I think, even if that movie hadn't.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, like that movie does its own thing, and I'm not trying to like shit talk it, but like, the Daniels would have still made Everything Everywhere without Crazy
Yeah.
Rich
Yeah.
Asians.
Right.
But then there are certain things like Parasite that did help, kind of open the doors for us.
I
No, I
remember
feel that.
I remember talking with Dumb on one of the podcasts where it's like, damn, we want a representation of like struggling Asians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so opulent at that time. Like everyone was just like bling bling everywhere. The bling empire. We had all these things. I really liked how similar to Parasite, it was like the social class difference within the show, and also it was a difficult watch because you guys tackled a lot of like infidelity. A lot of just like deep rooted pains, but then it was balanced with the comedy. Like it was like dark comedy where you're kind of like shivering, but at the same time giggling at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a great balance.
Oh, thank you.
I am kind of based on that. I was curious because the tone to me, I know like when I Googled it, it was like considered dark comedy. Is that what you would call it? A dark comedy? Because it felt so, to me, very dramatic, and I think I expected more comedy because of the, alley.
Yeah.
And I was like, I almost felt like you had created your own like genre
Oh, wow. Thank
that
you.
I didn't know how to specify, because people are like, what is this about? And I'm like, well, I guess it feels kind of like Atlanta, but not really. And then I felt like it was its own thing.
I know the name of the
thanks.
genre. It is K-American drama.
Oh, I love that.
And I have just created the name of the
love that.
genre.
Yeah.
It is K-American
That's
drama.
got to be a new tag on
Well-
Netflix,
Yeah.
It's like offbeat marriage, K-American
Yeah,
drama.
exactly.
Cam drama.
But
Cam
the
drama.
tone of it, like, what were there references when you had to pitch this in a way where you like?
There were, yeah. I mean, tone is the hardest thing for a writer. I think that's why like so many people just sort of homage stuff. Is like it's so much easier to like reference something like The Office, and then you got like Parks and Rec and a bunch of other
Yeah.
things. And so like something worked, and so you're just gonna stick to it. I think when you're trying to do your own voice, trying to explain that to someone else is one of the hardest things to do. I came up with like this math formula for the writer's room, where I was like, it's 35%
Oh yeah.
like Soprano / Paul Thomas Anderson, like comedy and broken psychology.
Yeah.
And then I said it's 35% like Netflix propulsion, White Lotus bingeability. And then it's 30% like Ingmar Bergman, Hirokazu Koreeda, warm pathos.
Wow.
And so that was like our formula that we would like have on the board. I don't know if we like. I mean, there's no way to know if I hit it.
You really came with a pie chart.
Yeah, he came with a-
yeah.
The class president came out. You know what I mean? Wow. dude.
Yeah.
Oh. That's
So the Burger King thing. Whose meal was that? I know that was 4. I went and I
Four's
was
a
like,
lot.
4's a lot, bro.
Yeah.
Like I eat like a motherfucker, but 4 is crazy.
You gotta
Is
be
it- was
really
it-
depressed. Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like in my dark moments, I remember like getting a 20-piece chicken nugget from McDonald's.
course.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Literally using one nugget and killing a hot mustard packet.
course.
Just like literally dunking it and just finding joy knowing I'm killing myself right now.
Did you do like the multiple
Absolutely.
sauces? And
Are you
Oh,
kidding
yeah.
me?
you're just like,
Yeah,
you
I'm-
felt like a king.
I'm
Yeah.
an EDM DJ. I'm just like, you know what I mean? I'm fucking mixing things. I would do
Straight
things.
up.
Yeah, I would literally take a chicken nugget and then dip one half in one. You know,
I mean, just creating your own concoction.
100%.
you
Yeah.
know?
And how happy were you when you got the 21st nugget? When there was that one that was like attached to the other, and you're like, "Ooh, good day today."
Or that nugget in the fry. You know what I mean? When there's a little,
Oh yeah, the errant fry.
Yeah,
I was
come
like,
on, bro.
oh, they slipped up.
Yeah.
My win.
I gave up.
Yeah,
Hell
no,
yeah.
the original chicken sandwich, it actually came from, I was working on Dave, and we were doing like a Zoom room, and I think I had Postmated Burger King that day for lunch, and got the original chicken because that's like, growing up, my family got that a lot.
Yeah.
And then Dave was like, is that the long one? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I love the long one. And we like bonded over the original
That's
chicken.
right.
I was like, oh, maybe like more people identify with this sandwich than I thought. And so when I started writing beef, I had to put it in there. But it actually wasn't my go-to growing up. Like,
Yeah.
I was more of a McDonald's man myself.
Yeah, for sure.
The
That's-
Filet-O-Fish.
Of course.
But that's interesting though. It's just like just a, no pun intended, a subtle nugget, you know.
Yeah.
No, in
You're
life
hired, you're hired.
where you where you mention, you know, that this familiarity
Yeah.
of a sandwich, you know,
Yeah.
that's an American sandwich. So you watch that and you're like, you know what that is.
100%.
This long thing, and everyone has that, you know. We know the my thing was like the Carl's Jr. spicy chicken sandwich, 99 cents, and it was like we survived off those things.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was amazing. I was gonna ask you too. Is there gonna be a lot of spoilers? We're probably gonna talk about a lot of spoilers here, right?
We'll see. We'll timestamp it. You know,
I feel like we should, because there's just stuff in the show that I kind of want to dig into a little bit. You know?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, so season finale, it's just straight up spoiling the whole shit. So season finale, you directed the season finale.
I did, yeah.
And one thing I did really like about this season, the first season, is there's not really any drug thing until like at the end. Mm-hmm. And I really like that, you know, because you can, if anyone wants to do like this, like, oh, we're going to be like the rebellious Asian show, first thing you might do is like throw a gang of drug shit in there, right? You know, like he's going to sell meth or this or that.
Yeah.
But I like that there wasn't. And at the end, they accidentally take something like a hallucinogen and they bond over this thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's always been this conversation, I guess, like for me too, with like it being a therapeutic thing if my parents or something would do shrooms or acid or something.
Yeah.
Yo, that would be fucking
Like
wild.
we've always
I've
talked
thought about that a
this.
lot.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And you kind of do it at the end of this.
Yeah. I wonder though, like, because, you know, they say with psychedelics, it's always about like set and setting, you know? And so for these two characters, so much has transpired to put them in the set and setting to have that experience. They literally are like in the middle of nowhere. All their attachments have been stripped away from them. Whereas with their parents, I wonder, like, has enough been set up for that? Like, if I were to just like hand my mom and dad shrooms,
Right.
I don't know, like they might have a really bad trip.
A really bad trip.
You know?
That's true.
I think they had to be forced into it because those two characters wouldn't have just
No,
done.
they wouldn't have.
So was that why you kind of had to do it in that
Yeah.
way where you really get close when you do a trip like that with
You do.
anyone.
Yeah. I feel like it almost, I mean, I'm curious what you guys all think, because I think a lot of this is open to interpretation, but you know, there's something about with like the crows that are involved and nature that, like, I think one can interpret maybe like almost like this is fate that's like driving them towards this.
Right.
But then there's also like something funny about like a woman who owns a plant business, like
Yeah.
you know, I think she
For
says
sure.
like, I just Google shit and pretend that I know.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So I think, I don't know, it just felt, usually when I'm writing, I'm just trying to chase like what would really happen. And I just thought, if you're in the middle of nowhere and you're starving and you're a plant person, then you probably think you know like exactly what to eat, and then you know, it probably wouldn't work out that way.
Very true.
Yeah. And so it wasn't, you know, I don't know, like how did you all interpret like some of the trippy stuff?
I was curious what drug was what was the reference? Like what psychedelic was?
Oh, what do they actually consume?
Yeah, was referenced.
Probably like a
were they like a
mushroom-like thing, right?
reference?
Or-
Like a
Well,
There
it
was-
came from the
there's a-
berries, right?
Yeah, there's a berry. They thought it was elderberry, but I think there is a hallucinogenic berry that looks very similar called like nightshade or something like that. And I did a lot of research on it.
Yeah.
And people like take it on purpose, and it's supposed to be like just the worst,
Like some
you-
peyote type
Yeah,
shit.
you like puke and
Right.
shit, and just it's awful. But they have like really crazy experiences.
Yeah.
It's poison. It's pretty much
Yeah.
like, you
Yeah.
know, but I think that's what they probably took.
It was so funny. Steven Yeun was so funny in that scene to me. Like,
He's very good. Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah,
It's like,
my mom.
Yun, by the way, I got it correct.
Yeah,
oh,
Steve Yeun.
oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just take that out? We need the bleeper.
No, we're keeping that, and we're turning the volume
Yeah.
up on that. Actually,
Oh,
That's
no.
the clip. That's the
my
online
my
clip.
sister gave my mom a edible,
really?
a brownie, a couple years back, and she didn't respond that well.
Did
what
she know
happened?
it was
She
a
knew.
weed, bro?
Yeah, we're not
Okay.
gonna drug her mom. All
I
right,
mean, you know.
we told her what it was. She had the brownie, and she was really high.
Yeah.
And she didn't like it. She was very nauseous, kind of, and
Oh, I'm sure.
it didn't do anything to heal us. Just to let you know.
Well, yeah, edibles I feel like aren't very healing at all.
No.
Like no one's ever. I feel like everyone's edible experience is pretty bad.
Yeah, but just jumping to a mushroom, you know, you
that
gotta
is-
give her a punch on first. You know what I mean? Like a little before the entree.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if people have like life-changing experiences with weed,
Right.
but I
No.
think with like psychedelics, maybe like an acid trip or shrooms, that's where like they say like the neurotransmitters can like shift and, you know, pave way for new ways of
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
and like ideas. So I think in the right way, that is kind of the key.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have our parents try that shit, but that would be so intense to imagine my mom.
Yo,
on-
put a little puzzle in the kimchi jjigae.
Oh
You know
my!
what I mean?
You mean the
Put a
real?
little puzzle in the kimchi jjigae.
You're gonna
That'd be
marinate it
crazy.
into
Yes.
a pancha?
But you have to
This guy's-
microdose them, so it's just like they see
Oh,
the wave. You know,
God.
like the serenity you feel, and it's just
Yeah.
kind of like when everything becomes vibrant and wavy. Like we need to get them at that point. We can't get them too deep. They'll be like,
No.
"Oh, the Kmart amendment was real." You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
They'll all
yeah.
have this guilt.
I don't know,
Uh,
man. I would love to. Have you guys seen any like older Koreans doing this? Have
Nah,
you,
not
I
really.
would,
No,
I would
never.
love to watch some. Like,
When my-
as a-
When my father was sick and he was at the hospital and they just did surgery on him. You know the painkiller, like the button that you push for the Vicodin.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the kindest version of my dad I've ever seen. I was like, oh shit.
Damn.
He's like, come
Wow.
here, I love you.
Whoa.
You know, he's like, he's just in this euphoric, like, days. You know, and he was just like, come here, son. And he was saying all these things like, you know, I'm so sorry for being so rough, and
Yeah.
I really love you. I don't want to die yet. You know, and I was just
Damn.
like, damn, Appa, like, we need to get you high, bro.
yeah.
We need to get you high.
Does he
son.
remember saying those things?
Nah.
He's like,
Not at
nah,
all.
bro, I was high. Come on, me saying I love you. I was high, fam. Chill.
Yes. That's why you don't do drugs.
That's what you know. Yeah, exactly.
Crazy, you
Yeah.
crazy.
Stupid.
I could see it going like becoming a real trend because Koreans really like latch on to like any sort of health trend.
Yeah.
If something is like life changing, I could see
Weed won't be like legalized in Korea for 50 years.
You
Yeah.
think so?
Yeah, 100%.
It's gonna take a minute.
It's
Yeah.
gonna take a long time.
I heard back in the day, weed was just growing on the side of the roads in Korea back in the
Were
day.
they
Oh,
were they
really?
smoking
Yeah.
it? Like were they doing it?
Are they fermenting it?
Like, were they-
straight up. Yeah.
They turned into
Can we
panchan.
ferment this?
I was gonna, okay. I want to change the subject real quick. Because we talked last time separately off of the pod about your show, and you're talking about how when you were casting certain background talent, extras, you were very specific with how you would find certain types of Asians for certain types of scenes. So
Yeah.
that includes like coming out of an Asian club,
Yeah.
the ones at a church. And I didn't even think about that, right? Because I'm just watching it, enjoying
Yeah.
it, and I'm getting the sense like, oh, this is what it's like because of specific casting you might have done. Why was that like something that, is that something you've noticed like kind of growing up with Asians in television?
Oh yeah. Anytime like I've been on other shows and you try to get like Asian background, it's like what, they're like an eighth Asian? Like what's happening here? You know?
Right.
And so I really made it like a huge point for our show, and it was tough honestly because I think a lot of these background casting places have like their go-to people. You know, they just
Right.
like they have their rotation. And a lot of like the authentic Asians, they're not necessarily signing up for background casting, you know?
Yeah.
And so even for the club scene, which we shot at Arena, I had asked for all that. And then I was looking around, there was like only like 25% like Asians. And so I was kind of freaking out. So I actually had all the extras. We were like, all right, let's take them to the parking lot, and we lined them all up. And I had to like just get a sense of like, okay, that you kind of seem like you'd be at Arena. You probably not.
So you started racially profiling your own people.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, it had to feel authentic.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so we actually had to, Jake Schreier, our director, and Larkin, our DP, we move people around. If you look really closely, you'll see the same person like in somewhere else that they shouldn't be, because we were just trying to be really like, we had limited people, and so we're like, we got to make Arena look like it's actually Arena, because like half of you would never enter here,
Right,
you know?
right.
I would have loved that
That's
job,
so-
just profiling. You look like my coke dealer from
Yeah,
2013.
you're a fuckboy.
You're a fuckboy.
We need all the ABGs.
Yeah.
3 ABGs this way. Come with me.
Yeah.
It's
No.
definitely one of those things where like when done right, you don't notice it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it was so real. Like for me, especially the church scenes.
Oh, good.
I know the dynamic of like these goody two shoe like parted hair dudes, but when it comes to the basketball tournament, the demons come out.
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? And then just even like the people cheering on the side.
Yes.
I felt like I was at a Siange, bro. Like seriously, that was
Well, we brought people from Justin Min's older brother, Jason.
Yeah.
He was my best friend in college.
Yeah.
And we went to church together. And so he has a church out here now in Pasadena. And so a lot of the extras were from his church.
awesome.
And so that basketball scene was actually pretty funny because, we were like, can you cross over that guy and like kind of can you like accentuate your fall?
Yeah.
And the guy was like,
Yeah.
you want me to like look like I like tripped up? Like I would never. He's not good enough that I wouldn't trip. Can we? He was like really upset.
Right,
He's like, I'm not gonna look like an idiot. And so like we kept having to be like, all right, cut.
Yeah.
We're like, we just need you to like fall, like get your ankles twisted a little bit. He's like,
You want me to
like-
posterize myself on Netflix?
yeah. And then even
God
like,
wouldn't want this for me.
and then during the worship scene, when Steven sits down, there's an extra behind him. Carla, she's my friend from church and college's wife, and she's pretty new to, I think, like background acting. And when you record a scene like that, you have to do it with like no singing because for editing purposes.
Yeah.
And we're like also like no hand movements just to like keep things pretty clean. But she was so into "Oh, Come to the Altar,"
Right.
that every time she was like, and like, just like,
Shoo-ya!
and she was just like singing at the top of her lungs. And I finally Jake was like, should I yell cut? And I was like, it's not gonna change, man. Like, let's just keep it rolling. It's good. It's good. It's authentic.
Shout out Jason. I used to do a few shows with him back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when he had the foot pedal machine, like he had that board back in the day.
Board.
Yeah, he had that board.
He's so good at guitar.
He's so nasty.
I feel like it's such a community driven show too, because we know so many of the same people who made the show possible too. Like Joe Yoon Lee, he did my mural on Catalina. He painted that in K-Town. A lot of people know that when we're working on that. Steven I've known for a long time too, and Justin is Jason's brother. Rec.
Rec.
That's
It's just like the community of people that we all know who worked on the show, and they're like from like a Korean like church too. That's one of the places. I know Steven kind of grew up in the church as well, right?
He actually used to lead praise at Jason's church.
Wait, was that him really singing?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, Steve sings like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I got unne about this stuff, bro. Like that part, I knew it was like.
What does that mean,
I
chills
felt
or what?
anointed. Like I felt blessed, just because I knew it was like painting kind of like the characters of the church. But during the praise parts, I'm like, this is actually banging right now.
Yeah, they're really good. We pre-recorded those tracks with Ariel Rekshade, who's like a Grammy-winning producer. He's done like Beyonce, Adele, like just crazy. Wow. And it was through Jake's connection and Bobby, our composer's connection, that we got his studio, and he was there. And he he's Jewish. He's never heard of church stuff.
Yeah.
And Jason's band comes in and just throws down, like fucking perfect the first time
Yeah.
out. And Aria was like, who are
Yeah.
these guys?
Yeah.
Like, and he was just blown away by them. And like, he's like, it's like all Korean church bands like this. And I was
Yeah.
like, kinda.
Yeah.
Like, we go
They're
hard.
like, catch us every Sunday, fam. We play gigs here all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
how
man.
how did you think they did with portraying the church
So
scenes?
usually when it comes to these big films, it's like they love shitting on the church. Do you know what I mean? They
Totally.
love kind of like
Making fun of it.
making fun of it, minimalizing it, kind of turning God into an accessory, you know? But with Beef, what I loved about it was obviously there's desperation everywhere, and people, we're all sinners and we all, backslide. And I love how you portrayed, there's this ambiguity. It's like church wasn't bad in the show. You know what I mean?
No.
It was a place of hope. It was a place of goodness, people trying to come together.
Yeah.
Medicinal almost. Like it was like,
Yeah.
and even towards the end, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like what are they gonna do, bro? Like how are they gonna kind of like make fun of it? But that never came, and that was so powerful to me.
Oh, cool.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like my mom, who's like, she's one of those Christians where I could talk about the saltiness of a kook and then Leviticus will come. Like she'll talk about a Bible verse somehow, and then so someone like her watching this, she feels anointed, like blessed, like wow, that was a pure representation. I was like, what do you think about like the business behind? It's like they do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They do that,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it was a very honest, very like transparent perspective of the church, and I really appreciate that you did that.
You
Thank
go.
you.
You could go for the church, but you can't go against the Korean church.
Nah.
They'll come after
Nah,
all that
nah,
shit.
for
You
sure.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was, as an outsider, I was kind of like, because I did go to church like for a few years as a kid.
Yeah.
But I think it was after watching the show that I realized the importance of church, like for our community.
Yeah.
Because I always thought, okay, like my mom's making us go because like we need community, we need like friends. But now I'm just like, now watching the show, I was like, oh, we need this because it's the only place they have a reason to express themselves
Wow.
in a creative way and
Yeah.
not feel embarrassed of it.
That's very true.
So I felt like, wow, that scene where Steven is, crying.
Yeah.
And I get emotional because it reminded me of, I never got that vulnerable at church. I never had that chance, but I did this thing called Landmark. Have you heard of Landmark Forum?
Yeah,
it's kind of like a cult.
Yeah.
So you joined.
I
the
know.
cult.
I know. What
I
you mean.
joined a cult, and it was just a place for like 100 of us were able to share our experiences. And I remember this part where me and this other person, we like stared into each other's eyes, and it allowed us like. That's when I realized I was the only person in that room where I started crying, and I was like, I didn't realize how I was not allowed to be vulnerable until that moment. And this church scene and church itself, I think, Stephen Yeun crying reminded me of that moment again, where it's like, you are allowed to just share
Yeah.
and be yourself
break
and
down.
sing
Yeah.
and dance. Things that I think Americans and Koreans aren't naturally allowed to do
Right.
Yeah.
freely.
Church couldn't even break me.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie.
Church, I remember like, we're all closing our eyes and they were like, if you're ready to give your life to God,
Yeah.
come up front. And I'm just opening my eyes, looking around like,
Yeah,
oh shit,
yeah.
no, I'm chilling right here,
I'm not gonna
fam. You're
lie
not
to
gonna
you.
get me.
Some of these praise song chord progressions is drugs, bro.
Yeah, they're designed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That last
yeah.
day of retreat, like if you have beef with anybody, go to them and pray with them. You just naturally break down. I don't know. That's
Those
C to F,
chords
bro.
are,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
telling you.
The G to E minor.
Yeah.
The
I
songs are so good on it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
What
good.
the heck? Yeah, the
So-
soundtrack.
I remember reading this book called Ragamuffin Gospel back in the day, and they were talking about how a lot of people at church, they apply spiritual cosmetics to appear holier than thou, And I love how you kind of hinted that where in different films where they portray church, they almost seem so fake, like a painted smile and just kind of like, oh, this guy's full of shit,
Yeah.
But you could see them trying to do well, but they're still kind of dicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, yeah, thank you so much. Is that still crooked though? Like,
Yeah.
there's like the opportunistic, like,
Well, it's always the praise team leader.
it's always
Yeah,
you know?
100%,
'Cause,
100%.
like, yeah, I mean, we were just trying to, we didn't want to glamorize it, but we didn't want to shit on it. Just want to be like a mirror.
It was so good.
And wait for season 2. We still might shit on it. No,
yeah.
Well, did you have experiences at church where you felt like what did church do for you?
Yeah, I've been on both sides of it. I've been Danny, kind of like the outcast that came in and trying to fit in, but then I used to lead praise team as well.
Yeah.
And and then with great power comes great responsibility.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
And you got ego, and you find yourself going a little extra hard with the harmonies.
Yeah.
Hogging the spotlight a little bit.
The vibrato there.
Yeah. And then praying over your enemies a little harder.
For sure.
Yeah, it's not that different from that scene in There'll Be Blood. Yeah. Where Paul Dano's lording over Daniel Day. That's Korean church.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think so much of the show is just kind of trying to reflect on your darkest parts of your brain that you try to hide from everybody, and that was kind of a North Star for Beef. There's this Carl Jung quote, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And that's why the finale is called Figures of Light, and that really drove a lot of the decision making in terms of our storytelling. Just what are the things that we don't want to admit to each other. Yeah.
I also, just thinking about certain scenes that stuck out, even Fumi's kind of sitting in the cafe and just getting those calls, after all that stuff, what were we trying to kind of say with that scene?
That episode 5, we kind of wanted in the middle to start giving some of the peripheral characters a chance to feel like they're three-dimensional and kind of understand why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, we're all pretty lonely,
Absolutely.
You think about a woman like Fumi, and she probably is overspending. And we've all, I don't know, I've been there where I'm just by myself at a meal, and I'm just hitting people up, no one's replying, and I'm like, man, I am the loneliest man in the world. Is that you?
Yeah.
It is me. Yes,
hey, break Korean food or what?
Because you don't want to be alone with your thoughts,
right.
And so you're just please God, someone reply for the love of God.
I think that's what it is. That's a good point. You don't want to be alone with your thoughts.
Yeah.
I got lost at Coachella yesterday for 2 hours alone.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I was terrified. I was walking around terrified.
Yeah.
And then I'll have a couple of fans recognize me. They'll come up.
Yeah.
And I try to hang out with them longer than I should.
Yeah.
They'll take a picture of me. I'm like, so what are you guys doing? Where are you guys gonna eat? May mind if I? Okay, no, go ahead. Do your thing. Go to the
they delete the picture.
Yeah, I just had an interesting thought. Korean cuisine, it accentuates the loneliness when you eat by yourself.
Oh yeah,
because American food,
style.
It's
family style.
American food, you have a sandwich, you know what I mean, or you have a dish and you just eat that one dish.
Yeah.
But with Korean food, there's a lot of movement and
right.
activity, and you're doing that by yourself.
Yeah, you're eating a meal alone, and they bring you a soup with a ladle.
Yeah.
You don't use the ladle on yourself, fam.
No.
You know how sad that is?
No. Yeah. One person with that many plates in front of you. That's just so sad. Yeah.
No one man should have that many plates.
Yeah, for sure.
No one man.
Yeah, way too many colors for a solo meal.
Korean restaurants get mad at you if you eat for one sometimes.
Yeah.
They won't even let you do that.
Yeah.
Shit.
The cuisine was not designed that way.
They ask you to go make friends.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No friends, no service.
Yeah.
No friends, no service.
Yeah. Sometimes they put you at another person solo, just to
I wish they did.
Was it restaurant booking?
Yeah.
Or matchmaking.
I wish they did. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be the new
hilarious.
thing, like a lonely Korean restaurant where you can go make friends.
Yeah. Speaking of friends, I even on the scene with Ali and Ashley Park, I love this dynamic because Ashley's character, I forget her name,
Naomi.
Naomi. Yeah. had this kind of like feel. I could tell she was feeling this like there could only be like one Asian. Feeling, and that's something a lot of Asians can relate to.
So real.
Oh my god!
Especially in white-dominated spaces.
Oh, 100%.
You know, because you're the first one there. You're like, oh, nobody better come take my shit.
I'm the cool Asian here, buddy.
Yeah.
There's a new sheriff in town.
That used to happen. I mean, I feel like that's happens. I get that vibe less now, just lately.
Sure.
But definitely early in my career, that was really prominent. And then I'll like see that person now, and they act like totally about the community, and like
That's funny.
and I'm like, you were very mean to me 10 years ago.
I mean, there's a lot of that conversation going on now. I know there was this young Latino comedian, Ralph Barbosa, who got into it with George Lopez because he's like a young new comedian, and George was like, who's this new kid?
He was hating.
He was hating a little bit. He had a little bit of hate, and I feel like what you said, I felt that too early on in my career. I was on the both ends of it too.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
that's true. I've been that way as well.
Yeah, I've been that way too. And it's just like this thing, you want to work, you want to work. And even I grew up with Latinos too, and I always talk about this on this show. And with Latino community, like I when I was hanging out as the only Asian, they called me Chino. And not as a derogatory thing, but I was like, that was my nickname, and I was the Chino of the group. And a block over, I meet another Asian kid. His nickname is Chino.
No.
And I was hot. I was like, oh, just throwing these nicknames around for everybody, huh? I am Chino, a fourth in Harvard.
Right.
He's like, I'm Chino, a fifth in Harvard. Shit had me pissed,
Yeah.
It's like that. You could only be one kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just that's why, like, I feel like there's a scarcity mindset that we all have,
Right.
like, and that there can't possibly be enough to go around,
Right.
And so I think when you're the only person there, you're like, well, this is my thing. I'm like, they love me because I'm this.
Yeah.
And and then like you find that that's not the case. Like,
Yeah.
there is enough to go around.
I feel like a lot of Asian actors now just want to be in every Asian project. When there's an Asian project, they're like, I should be in that Asian project. You know?
What's that audition room looking like? Like when you walk in there, you see everybody.
Well, it's different now. A lot of auditions are over Zoom now, or
true.
self-tape. I remember going. I remember going into an audition a while back, like in person when they were in person, and it was definitely a different vibe. Because you actually see everybody who's auditioning.
For sure.
I go in there and everyone has tattoos, and they look like me, nose ring and shit. I'm like, oh shit! Like it really is. It could be very discouraging sometimes. But at the time too, like mad years ago, even just right before Crazy Rich Asians, I'd go into an audition room and there'd be the top Asian actors of today. Then auditioning for some bullshit like waiter number 3.
Right.
Right. And it's like Daniel Dick Kim, Sun Kang, Steven Yeun. Like it's like what?
Yeah.
It was wild.
Do you ever get though, like, do you ever see the person that got the thing that you were supposed to get, and you're kind of like,
oh yeah.
A
lot. Yeah. Many of the shows I've auditioned for have gone to win Emmys. And I must stare at the billboard every morning as I drive out.
Right.
But there's also a lot of times you see them and you're like, oh yeah, I would have never been able to be that
That's
person.
true. That's true. That happens
that's
too.
healthy.
That's healthy.
Yeah.
It's a healthy way I tell myself that. There's a reason I
No, but it is. You're right. It's true. There's times you're like, okay, it makes sense that I didn't get this, and that person fit perfectly for that.
Yeah.
It's called growth. It's growth.
Going back to the show, just like the realism of it all. Like you don't switch the locations around. Like when I saw, I was like, that's Hambat. Like, like you see it. And the fact that you put Hambat, like with the Salongtang and the Gaktugis and all that, like, bro, man, as a Korean eater, I was so proud, bro. I was so proud to see the Gaktugis and it was so nice, man.
Is that the best Salongtang in town?
Hanbat is
the OG.
Is the OG.
It's the OG.
I don't wanna blaspheme.
I've been going there since my family came to this country when I was 3, and we've been eating there since then. You know what I mean? I remember like my dad would send me in to grab like 2 orders of salangtang to go.
Yeah.
And they'd put like the Korean newspaper on the bottom to hold the
Yeah.
plastic
Yeah.
bag, you know, the
Yeah.
soups together flat on the thing.
You know how you know it's OG? When you look at the menu that they taped on the wall, the price change, you know how it's like bumped out now because they kept adding different prices and
Inflation
now
over
it's
the
like,
years.
Now it's like Braille, bro. It's like it's nuts.
Yeah, but it's I would say it's still top 3 spots, but it's the OG spot. And like I love that they just serve that, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's the amazing thing about like Korean food in Korea, because they have places that are specialized in that
In the one thing.
Yeah.
Over here it's more like variety. They have
Yeah.
a lot of the variety, but the
sure.
one thing stuff is crazy.
Hanbat is a solo eating situation, you know. I could do a hanbat solo. You know,
Yeah.
it's not too much panchan. It's just the 2 kakdugis and the kimchi.
I don't think I even thought about that, like how Korean food is so like, you know, communal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
I feel like salangtang is a good like solo thing.
Yeah, that one you can be
Salangtang
solo.
is a solo for sure.
Like in New York, I used to go to Kamyo
Kamyo.
all the time at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah,
Just
rest in
like-
peace. You heard about it, right?
What
Kamyo.
happened?
I
Oh,
have
there's
no
some serious.
idea.
I'm not. It's just
It's serious.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's
so they
unfortunate.
found a rat. A customer found a rat in a soup.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they put a
No.
video,
And-
literally.
and they put a video, and it was pretty horrific. And you know, the Kamyo came out with a statement saying, you know, what was it, apology or something like that.
Was it good?
But no. Was it good or not? No. No. The fucked up thing is, it is easy for a rat to accidentally fall into a soup. I
Sure.
feel. You know
For
what I mean?
sure.
You're in New York City. There's
Yeah.
a boiling hot pot of soup.
No,
That-
it's
if
literally
that rat-
it's
that-
literally a vat.
Yeah.
It's a vat.
I've walked on the edge of a pool and fell into a pool. I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
easily can happen.
Is that the video though? Like what's
Nah,
the video?
the video is them.
It's
It's
cooked.
a take home.
It's
so
cooked.
they're eating it at home.
Oh, and they show
and
you.
then and then he puts a spoon in, and it's literally just like a disfigured
It's
rat.
traumatizing.
It's
Oh,
bad.
come on.
No,
Oh my
bro.
god.
Wait, are those the people that are saying that?
Yeah.
that happened?
Yeah.
Could I see that?
Yeah,
film
yeah.
again?
Put the picture back on.
They sued them, right? But apparently
they're-
on Yelp. They've given other places really bad reviews.
And bro,
where
like,
they
Yeah,
I'm a-
those they look. I mean, I don't want to get into a thing,
Yeah.
but
Do they look like Asian Karens or what?
a little bit.
Asian Karens and
Opportunistic,
Kyles?
opportunistic.
I mean, if I were to like just close my eyes and imagine who's gonna
Yeah,
take
yeah.
down Kamio,
Right, right.
It would look
So
like,
so if
Yeah.
you're saying you
the eyebrows are a little too dark.
so hold on, if you were gonna cast an Asian Karen, that's what it would look like.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I may use that as a reference.
But yo, seriously, when I saw that photo though, when I saw the video, like I know the coloration of the soup, you could tell they've been eating it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a
Oh,
fresh.
really?
Yeah, because it's mixed in with some kimchi kumul and it's red.
so you don't think they could have like put it in after they had eaten it?
Oh, I think they, you know.
What are you, a
definitely-
food detective over here?
Bro,
The
come on,
coloration.
man.
He was eating for about 8 minutes before he
If
discovered
you
the
could see
rat.
the puffiness of the rice at least sat in that broth for like 15 minutes,
Oh
bro.
my god!
I'm telling you.
I'm just saying, it's just a very unfortunate event. It
Yeah.
might have been a rat that fell into the soup, but and obviously it is traumatizing to come across that while
Sure,
you're
of course.
eating.
Of course.
But it's just unfortunate. This business is affected forever.
Right.
Probably
I mean,
gonna
they've
get
been
shut
around
down.
forever. Like, so that one thing took them out.
Damn. That fucking
like
that clumsy rat.
Yeah.
You fuck.
Yeah.
You clumsy fucking rat.
It's like a gang.
Yeah,
One
well-
rat took it down.
Watch where you.
It's like
The rat took us all down. I say. You fucking rat.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille, yeah,
Christ,
this dude.
dude.
But you know what? That
Would
rat.
you have the heart to call it out?
What?
Like if you found a rat in the
Oh,
soup.
here's the thing
Oh,
that I
that's
do.
a great question.
So
Yeah.
me, when I find a hair in my food, I never report it.
what?
Because it's probably
Never.
yours, bro.
This is
No,
not
no,
a
no, no,
hair,
no, no,
though.
no.
This is a rat.
I know, but I'm just saying. For me, like I'm very
Yeah.
non-confrontational.
Yeah.
So you know, like when Koreans need to order food at a restaurant, you know, you have it in your show,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
"저기요,"
Yeah.
and they yell across the room to get the waiter's attention.
Yeah.
My shit is more like "저기요."
You're like,
So that translates to perhaps when you have time you can take our order, ma'am, please. You know, but "저기요" is like yo, like pretty
Yeah.
much it's come
Yeah.
here, you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
and my dad will yell.
Of course.
Like it just sounds rude, but it's not in the
No.
culture.
No.
That's how you're supposed to track the waiter down.
Yeah.
So
you know
you're
what I mean?
basically like,
that's- yeah.
조금 빼주세요, please. Oh, please.
Even my, I don't even honk on the road.
Right.
You know, my honk is like, just veer to the left, maybe. You know, it's just like very soft. But with hair, I
Yeah.
don't report hair.
Oh
Right.
man, those fans you met at Coachella.
I just feel like I'm just kind of like it means hair falls into food.
Yeah.
I don't
Hair
know.
falls
I mean,
into
but bro,
food.
It depends on the hair, I think. You
The
know,
length, yeah, the length.
I
the
do
length,
agree.
the color.
If it's
The
a
curl?
gray hair, you're like, I respect my elders.
yeah, you're like,
I'm not.
I think
Yeah.
if it's too curly and it bounces.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
to me, I'm
The curly
like,
You're
fry
gonna
hair?
discriminate on a
Yeah.
perm?
No,
You're
curl-
gonna discriminate on a perm?
No,
No,
I'm
no.
saying it could be like a
Pube.
pube.
Yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
come on, bro. A
Hey,
pube, really?
We all saw
Yeah.
waiting, bro.
What do you mean?
I mean, people do weird shit in the kitchen, you know.
yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm
Be like,
too.
yo, he yelled chunky, yo, too loud. I'm gonna put a pube in his.
You know what I?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even so if I'm with a group and I find a hair on my food, I don't even point it out to any of my friends because I know they're gonna cause a fucking
Yeah.
stir.
What?
So I just pretend like I
Jesus.
never see it. Just
So
keep
you
it
let
pushing.
others eat out of the thing that had hair?
Yo,
in
that's
it?
wild.
That is.
Because it's too much.
Oof.
You're causing a stir.
This motherfucker's the type he'll find a rat and just bury it.
Okay, but you're right.
He goes like, it's just a rat.
No, I really don't though. Like
Yeah.
if I find a hair in a communal soup,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it away and like I'm just gonna act like it never happened.
I think this is because.
Why?
I'm not.
You're not gonna eat with me ever.
No, bro.
You hope people are watching your back and this kind of stuff. You know.
Absolutely.
I just feel like I'm
It's
a
your
man of the
own.
people. You know what I mean?
No, you're
I-
not,
I-
dude. That is the
That's
complete
not-
opposite.
Yeah, the people are eating. You
It's,
know.
it's more comforting for the people to know there's no hair in their food.
Oh my god.
You're the ignorance is bliss guy, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Well, you
how
know
I
what it
feel.
is?
Yeah, you
I-
don't want to be taken out of the matrix.
I
You're like,
think, yeah. I think you're like that because our parents went OD with it. You know what I mean? Like I remember for a minute, I too was hesitant to kind of like call out things or confront because my mom, if it's a little salty, you know,
oh yeah.
she'll like turn it. I'm like, oh my, please, let's just eat, please. Like, no. You go, and then the way they ask too, the way they say it, it's not like, hey, I think this is salty,
No, it's
politely.
accusatory.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
이건 너무 짜요, 이거 먹어봐요. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
try this right now. Are you fucking kidding me?
I feel like that's in the culture too. Like even Korean people in the service industry don't mind a complaint because they're used to
yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like complaints are coming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
it's
mean?
weird if there are no complaints. For
sure. Yeah, yeah.
You want a reaction.
I'm
You
trying
know?
to break the cycle, fam.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break the cycle. No hair complaints.
Eating with him is the worst because he doesn't like ordering or even having interaction with the waitress. So he'll be like, Diet Coke would be nice. You know? And I'll be like, do you want me to order the Diet Coke? He like, you know what I mean? He drops hints.
Yeah,
He's like, damn,
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
last piece of kimchi.
Yeah. Whatever you think I deserve.
I'm very low maintenance. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My mom she did complain a lot when we
My
go
parents
out.
did, too.
It was
Yeah.
a lot. It was traumatizing.
Well,
for
buying any furniture with your parents was the worst.
Oh, bro.
Because
The
they would
haggle master.
inspect every
Right.
square inch of that thing.
Right.
And if it had like just even like a little scratch or like
Yeah.
just discoloration of any sort, they'd bring it back.
You know what? That's so funny. My dad was like that too. But then back in the day when my dad drank a lot, they would fight. So they destroy the furniture anyway, and then rub coffee on it. You know, and they rub the coffee for the brown.
I went furniture shopping with her. I was looking for a couch, and we went to Al's discount furniture. It's already Bob's discount furniture,
discount.
and it's already discounted.
Yeah.
She is haggling up a fucking storm,
Oh, damn.
and they're just like, "Ma'am, it's already discounted furniture."
Yeah.
We would not leave this place unless she got something extra for it. And they finally
And
gave us a
we
clean. And
did.
they gave us a cleaner for the couch, a
Yeah.
cleaner.
But you
it
need
took
one of.
That thing was like $20.
Oh my god, it
Oh,
took
man.
forever. Yeah, I was like, it reminded me of my mom just rolling around.
I
with
get
her.
off
Yeah.
on it, man. The
Yeah.
discounts are like, I don't care.
You need
where
one of those
I-
in the squad, though. You
my
need
mom,
one of those.
my
Yeah, you
mom
do.
can get a discount at Uniqlo. Like I'm telling you, She's the queen. She's like haggle queen.
A unique low.
It's already uniquely low.
I'm the princess going for the throne.
That's coming out of someone's paycheck, probably.
Is
like,
it?
yeah, because it's not. They've slashed the prices. You know, it's not like the money just exists. It's coming out of somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
owner of Uniqlo.
I don't think.
Oh, you think it's from them?
Yeah,
top
they're
tier?
the ones. Yeah, that's how I think. Have you ever thought about like yelling or calling your parents by their name? Like, in
Oh,
America?
hell no.
Have
I
you
would
ever
never.
thought about it?
That shit.
Or behind closed doors after they yell at you?
No.
You've never been like,
You know what though? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it.
should we all
After
try
this,
it as a social
Yeah.
experiment?
No.
You know, there's that TikTok. There's that TikTok where the students call their teachers their name, like their first name, and they get so mad.
That's a new thing.
Yeah, they're like, Billy. He's like, what did you call me? Like the
Oh,
teachers are
man.
so
Wow.
flabbergasted. Yeah.
Kids don't give a fuck
For
about
sure.
their elders nowadays.
days?
There's no.
You know
there's no
what?
You
respect.
sound old.
The
as
crazy
shit.
thing is, like, I feel like the way I grew up, I was a bad kid, but that was the one line I would never cross.
we
You know
all
what I
knew.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'll smoke crack, but always not in front of my mom. You know what I mean? I'll smoke crack, but not in front of my mom.
Yeah.
You know, like I have some respect.
Yeah.
I've got to have some respect.
I'll take the clip out the gun. You know.
yeah, have
for
some
sure.
respect, you know. But I feel like I don't know. I think that's the one thing that our culture does have. We're like super, you know. Like for instance, like when kids go drinking, still they'll still use two hands to pour a drink for
Yes.
someone older than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah,
like
it's
like a
2023.
21 yeah. Yeah, but like a 21-year-old would pour a shot for a 24-year-old with two hands.
Yeah.
Like we're in ancient times.
Yeah, it's like a period piece. Yeah.
Like we're in a period piece, which is wild as
It
fuck.
really is.
When I
yeah.
drink with my girl's father, he loves it when I do the turn. You know what I mean? Like, so he's like,
The turn of like, so what
So-
he's talking about is looking away while you drink.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
So they're not supposed to see you drinking.
it's 90 degree to the left. Yeah, for sure. So like when you're doing it, and he checks too. He's like, oh, you didn't go full kuship. You didn't go full 90 over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just little things like that. They just, that's how they were brought up, I guess.
Do you have any siblings?
I have a younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
She didn't have to call you Oppa?
No.
Nah,
God,
my
no.
sister never called me.
Really?
Opa.
Hell
Yeah,
no, my
no,
sister didn't
no.
call me
What?
that either.
Dude, my sister,
Yeah, you made her.
there was a time she tried to use my name. Like in high school, she kind of like dabbled in trying to like cross that line.
What do you mean? Call you by your
and
name?
I was like, no. I was like, no, you're.
But you're like Americanized.
I
You're
was-
still-
You know, I
moly.
shamed her. Like I did the whole shaming thing where I was like, "You're turning to you're whitewashed and like you don't care." Yeah, like so
Yeah.
I made her feel real bad, and
I think that was more of a power thing than
Yeah,
a
that's a
cultural
Oh, yeah,
thing.
no, it was a
Yeah.
manipulative thing. And I
Speaking
was
of
like,
which,
"You're-"
oh, sorry.
no, so she still to this day calls me on the.
Are you serious?
I won,
Damn.
guys.
I won.
I don't think I've
oh,
ever
man.
been called that.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, it feels weird. I wouldn't. If I told my sister to call me Opa, she'd tell me to fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
same.
100%. Are you
For
kidding
sure.
me?
To fuck
Yeah.
off.
But I think you did that very well in Beef too. I remember that one scene because Steve Young's character, he's Americanized, But then you saw like the Hyung side of him, like the Korean Hyung. When they're at the club, they're like, you gotta get that Korean girl, you
Yeah, yeah.
It was so funny. It's true too. Like the older sibling likes Korean food more. The younger kid always like the American food. Like these dynamics. It was that's a real thing.
Yeah, I find myself like, because in my 20s, I definitely like almost like try to distance myself from the culture a bit.
Yeah.
And I now find myself like returning hard to all of it. You know?
For sure.
Like Sonny isn't even like my real name. Like, that's why like on credits and stuff, I go by Sung Jin now because, I like Sonny was just a name I put on my homework in 6th grade. 'cause
Come
I
back
was
home,
like-
brother. Come back home. Come back home. We're here and we're proud of you. Come back home.
Your middle name's Edgar. Shut up.
It is. Okay. Yes. First of all, I was born in Argentina.
Yeah.
And my mom named us. My sister's name is Natalia Ayalina Park.
Oh, damn.
I have
Jonathan.
Jonathan Edgar Park.
That goes hard though.
It goes hard. Like I
Yeah.
could be a leader of a cartel, I don't know, or a poet. But I think we're that was
incredible.
I think that's
That was
about an
awesome.
hour. We
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
wrap
All
it
right,
up. So Sonny, what else you got in store? I know you did that little rewrite on the Marvel movie.
Yeah, I'm rewriting Thunderbolts. It's kind of a Beef reunion. Jake Schreier, who
That's
directed
cool.
some of
I
Beef.
noticed that,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Steven's in it. Grace Yoon, our production designer. Harry Yoon, our editor. It's kind of like the whole Beef gang back together. And then, and then I think, hopefully Beef season 2. And
That's gonna
Wow.
be so cool.
yeah, so
Wow.
The critics are raving.
they are,
Fuck yeah.
but we do need to. We're doing well, but I think in order to like really like hit like record breaking territory, we do need to like a little bump.
That's
So
why you came to the right place.
came to the right place,
need
bro.
the fun with dumb bump, you know.
The fun with dumb bump. I don't know how much of a bump that's gonna go. you're at like almost 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, right?
There's 2 Spanish speaking sites that brought us down to 98 recently.
There's 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, but we're gonna get you to 100% on a fermented kimchi. That's a Korean cinema site.
Y'all
That,
go
yeah.
check it out. Check
Yeah.
out Beef.
Yeah, please check out Beef, y'all. Great show. I feel like this kind of marks like a new era in Asian
yeah.
television,
Oh, thank
Asian
you.
American television.
Korean American drama.
Yeah, K-American drama.
Yeah,
You heard it
K-American
here
drama.
first, y'all. You don't have to adapt it. But Lee Sung Jin, Sonny, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
We love it. We love the show. We've all binged it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to test you later. But
Do it, bro.
and shout out to Steffie and Rick and Alex. And tune in next week for another episode of Fun with Dumb. Peace.